Okay, Laura, let's talk briefly about defense in depth, which is, I think, a very interesting topic. The
Yes.
principle of defense in depth is layered security mechanisms. The layered security enhances the security of the whole system, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, during an attack, if one layer gets impacted, other layers can still hold down the fort, as we say, right? And implementing defense in depth strategy is not an easy mechanism.
Mm-hmm.
It is much more complex than what we normally would imagine. Now, implementing this approach could add to the complexity of the system, as I'm sure you're going to elaborate on.
Correct. So let me give you an example of what a layered security is not. Multiple implementations of the same basic security tool is not a layered approach. As an example, installing both ClamWin and AVG-free on the same MS Windows machine is not an example of layered security. This is a case of redundancy, not layering. The layering could be data, applications, host levels, internet networks, parameter levels, physical securities, etc. We will have policies and procedures covering these layers, and users may be made aware of these for
All
sure.
right. Yeah, absolutely. So on the data layer, you could have ACL and encryption.
Mhm.
On the application layer, you could have antivirus and application hardening practices. At the host level, you can have OS hardening, your patch implementation, authentication, HIDs, etc., all those things. And at the internal network level, you can have network segments, IPsec, NIDs, etc. So at the perimeter level, you can have firewalls and VPN quarantining right on the edge.
Mhm.
So at the physical level, you can have guards employed, the physical locks on, and tracking devices. So they're kind of how different things can work out in those layers.
Right. And defense in-depth strategies also include other security preparations other than the directly protective ones. They also address such concerns as monitoring, alerting and emergency response, authorized personnel activity accounting, disaster recovery, criminal activity reporting, and forensic analysis.
Right. Now, having said all that, it is strongly recommended that you go for this approach. However,
Correct.
before doing this, make sure you have an assessment of your environment and decide on the defense strategy.
Mhm.
Layered security is all about multiple types of security measures, layered, each protecting against a different vector for attack. Now, one of the most important factors in a well-planned defense in-depth strategy is taking advantage of threat delay. Now, by ensuring rapid notification and response when attacks and disasters are underway and delaying their effects, damage avoidance or mitigation that cannot be managed by purely technological measures can be enacted before the full effects of a threat are realized. Super important.
That's correct. This is a brief description of defense in depth. When we implement a multiple layered security, it increases an attacker's identification much more easily. It also reduces an attacker's chance of success.